Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome back to MX vs. ATV All Out, where today we're going to be playing the 2020 AMA Pro Motocross Championship season. I'm going to go 2 motos at a time to get through this series. I actually didn't even realize that this was like a series that you could play on the game, but I've had the DLC for a long time, obviously, as I have also had the 2019 AMA Motocross DLC, but this one is actually 12 rounds. So we're going to just do all-time mode, 3 laps. It's 2 motos apiece, and you can see it kind of snakes through. So I guess the only bummer about it is, I don't know, like, when I'll do these videos. I don't know that they'll necessarily be every week. They might be a couple times a week or whatever. But for this specific week, we're starting at Hangtown, whereas the first round of real Pro Motocross this weekend is Fox Raceway. So that's a little bit of a bummer, I guess. But it is, of course, the 2020 Pro Motocross DLC, which we actually didn't have like a 2020 Pro Motocross season that looked anything like what this layout of the season is in this game, because the pandemic started before the 2020 motocross season started. So then we started at Loretta Lynn's for a couple nationals, and then we had a couple different like double headers at Red Bud and stuff like that. So it jumped around a little bit, but this is more or less the 12 round national championship with pretty much all the tracks that we're going to see on the schedule this year. So figure we'll have a little bit of fun with it, and kind of use this as a bit of a tool to get us revved up for the upcoming release of MX's ATV Legends, which is now pretty much about a month away. Starting to see a lot more stuff coming through from the devs about some things included in the game. So it's getting very exciting, and I'm genuinely excited to see the game coming, see what they have to offer in the game as well. Because we've been waiting for quite a while for Rainbow Studios to move into their next discipline. We've had All Out now for pretty much 5 years. It came out in 2018, and definitely got a lot of playing out of it. I do get some people on the channel that are like, man, why don't you play All Out anymore? And honestly, it's because I did a lot of stuff in it the first year and a half that it came out. Like, you can go back and watch a lot of those early videos, and eventually I got like a little bit burnt out on it, but I also didn't feel like there was really much else to do. Like, there was some multiplayer stuff that we never really got around to that I suppose I could pick back up on a little bit, but I think we'll move that into Legends. But more or less, like, I'd worked through all the series, kind of done like the whole career mode, did a couple of the challenges, showed like some freestyle stuff off, like did a couple freestyle montages, did a video where we did a quintuple backflip is what you would call it, because it's 5 backflips. So I played it a lot, like I felt like I got a lot of playthrough out of it, and was ready to kind of play some of the other stuff that I'm super into as a moto gamer, and that's why I stopped playing All Out kind of regularly. But I don't think this is a bad game. I think some people have their dislikes about it for sure, but there's also a strong community of people that really do like it, and they still do play it, do some competitive racing, and I see plenty of people still getting online to, do little like free ride stuff and freestyles and stuff like that. And this is definitely one of those games that's awesome for that, because there's just a lot of stuff to do, whether it's, the quad side of it, the driving the UTVs, obviously a lot of dirt bikes and motocross stuff. And overall, yeah, just a lot of freedom of play. So it's good for that side of it. Obviously, I'm a bit more of a core fan of motocross and stuff like that. So I was always more keyed into the racing stuff. And once I burned through the racing stuff in this game, I was mostly over it. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Legends coming up here and play this through. This Hangtown track built pretty well. I feel like, as you can see with this game, you kind of hit everything a little bit too fast, so the lap times are maybe a little bit faster than what Hangtown would be like in real life. And some of the off cambers and stuff like that, like this corner through here, it doesn't really feel very off cambery, even though in real life it's really tough and you have to go pretty slow to get through some of these corners. But the rest of the track flows pretty good. I'll do a little bit of first person gameplay because I do like playing this game in first person, as well as almost clip that SpongeBob. This game looks good in first person. It arguably plays even better in first person than it does in third person, but it still is just maybe a little bit too fast and floaty for that realistic aspect, which for me is why first person is a bit of a buzzkill in this game. But it's it's enjoyable, and there's definitely people that have taken a lot of time to find some like realistic feeling setups for this game that feel awesome in first person as well. So that is good of the community to come through and get that going. So MX vs. ATV Legends, like I said, we are getting pumped up, ready for the release date coming up in June. Had to get pushed back a little bit. If you've been following us on Instagram, we posted a couple updates about it. I've been posting, they've had a lot of developer diaries coming out in the past couple of, basically like a month and a half or 2 months now, talking about the release and the game that's coming up. They just posted a couple more things on social media this week about, some of their UTV, works that they've been putting into the game and stuff like that. It's going to be, looks pretty similar in terms of like, actual, I guess, items in the game for Legends as it was for All Out, where you have dirt bikes, quads, and UTVs. And among those, more or less, I'm sure that they'll have either the manufacturers included up front or at least some DLCs of it. And then you'll start out with, some pretty stockish bikes or quads or UTVs or whatever and work your way up. So that part isn't, much different than All Out, but a lot of the things that they're looking to change up looks like, they're expanding more areas, I would say. Like they're trying to make it a little bit more open world aspect feel. There's a lot of cool screenshots that they've already put out about some of the areas that they've created. And like I said, if you follow us on Instagram, you can definitely see some of those areas because we posted a few pictures of them. But also follow them, MXers ATV, on Instagram as well, and they've definitely put a lot of stuff out. And you can read some of the developer diaries that they put up at mxersatv.com. They do say that the Pro Motocross tracks will be included with the game as well, so I'm hoping that that means like right from the get-go and it's not DLC, but have not been able to 100% confirm that. They just, told a couple people in some social media comments that that was the plan. So hopefully that's a good sign for us players to have some DLC, or excuse me, to not have some DLC right from the get-go to have to get. We just have the Pro Motocross tracks right in the game. Excited to see the customization aspect of it as well, see what, gear options and bike customization options that we have. Hopefully, improved, graphic options and being able to choose some different number fonts and stuff like that, which, gets a little bit stale on these bikes, but I get it. They have to run with a certain parameters of bike fonts and stuff like that. So hopefully a little bit more customization there. We've seen a couple little gameplay footage here and there. I know my buddy Wyndham over there has uploaded some of that gaming footage, that Milestone basically, or not Milestone, Rainbow put out of the game. Basically, they have put out all the footage on either their Facebook or their social accounts or something like that. So I didn't really feel the need to post that footage and really talk about it because I feel like a lot of people saw it and, can kind of pick their own opinions and conclusions from it. It, so far from what I've seen, is one of those things where, like, man, you want to like it, but you kind of feel like they're missing the mark in a few areas. But it is still some alpha gameplay, so I'm hopeful that, what we see as the finished product is maybe a little bit, I guess, cleaned up compared to what we've seen so far. But maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll have to see. So we won the first moto here at Hangtown quite easily. Josh Greco and Destry Abbott finishing behind me. So we're looking pretty solid so far. So we'll do Moto 2 at Hangtown here. And just have a little quick in and out video for you guys here today. But yeah, I mean, when Legends comes out, we are going to go deep in with the content, have a lot of stuff for you guys to watch, and hopefully some cool things, maybe career mode wise. I haven't really seen too much about that. They've obviously talked a lot about, the expanded free roam areas that they're going to have, but they haven't clued in too much as to if there's like a story mode this time or anything like that. If that's the case, unless they've, start really promoting it here in the last month before release, I would have to imagine that we're going to see a pretty similar, like, kind of career trajectory that we have in All Out, where it's a lot of, race, and you just earn credits to unlock stuff. So I'm not personally the biggest fan of that model when it comes to games. I know some people like that and like just doing the races and not focusing on like a story mode aspect of it. But I think for single player sake, that kind of ruins the replayability of it a little bit because there's only one way to go through the game. Kind of, you don't have options, you don't have teams to jump through and stuff like that. And that was kind of one of my bummers about All Out and kind of doing like a career mode version of All Out, is I never really felt like I was in a career mode, so to speak. I was just doing races. So hopefully with Legends we have a little bit more expansion of some semblance of a career mode, even if it doesn't have dialogue or characters or any story to really get behind. At least some stuff that maybe you put a team together, you hire riders, or maybe you have to run your own team where you get parts and components and stuff to make your bike better and certain things like that. So it adds just a little bit more depth. Unlocking things, I don't necessarily think that we need to do a career mode to unlock stuff. I think you can maybe unlock stuff through leveling up or whatever, which is a very common thing with modern games. They just do, more or less like the COD mod, I guess is what you'd say, is they just kind of follow along with that model of you level up, you prestige, you whatever, and you unlock perks and certain things like that, which is very common among really even racing games these days too. So I'm sure that's probably going to be part of it, but we'll see. I think all that stuff is kind of left to be open a little bit. They've teased some gameplay, they've teased some screenshots, they've talked a little bit about some of this stuff. But I think that there's like a reason why they haven't, let every cat out of the bag yet, or allowed any of us gamers access early to, play it or show it off or whatever. I think they're really kind of hoping that this build up, before the release kind of entices people to see what the game is all about and not necessarily be spoiled beforehand. And that's kind of my hope with it, is that we get to, open this game up and download it and try it for the first time and be genuinely impressed with the steps that they've taken forward since All Out, which, again, like I said, I don't think everybody loves All Out, but it's not, the most hated game or anything like that. People are either really for it or really against it, and I think that there's a way to expand this model and make it better for sure. But hopefully that doesn't mean that they took steps backward with the physics or anything like that. Like we want to see steps forward. We want to see, cooler physics, better ground play, ruts that develop a little bit better. This game still does a pretty decent job of having terrain deformation, but it doesn't deform enough, I feel like, to really build some good ruts unless you do some gnarly long online lobbies. So hopefully that's expanded a little bit. Obviously graphically, I think we're hoping some, a little bit steps forward, I guess, in that department as well, which this game doesn't look terrible either, but I do think that, it does show a little bit of age now at this point when you play it, especially compared to some of the more modern motocross games starting to hit the market. So yeah, I think a lot of it depends on, physically how the game plays, what modes and options we have available to us. And at the end of the day, I just hope it's a fun game to play. Even if it's a little bit off the mark in some areas, if it's not the perfectly, physical game that we want and doesn't have every box ticked in terms of the, whips and ruts and all that stuff like that. If you at least have fun playing it, that's the bottom line, right? It's a video game at the end of the day. You want to be able to, turn it on when you get home from work or school or whatever and actually pick it up and feel like you have a fun time playing a video game and not get frustrated or bored or what have you with it. So that's my hope. I hope with Legends we have a fun game that has good replayability, lasts a while. If they're going to go with that DLC model that they had from All Out, where there was a lot of it and you had to spend more than you paid to get the game to get a lot of the DLC in the game, I more or less hope that is one of those things that they kind of come out with, like in maybe packages or something like that, a lot like what we see with GTA, where it's not necessarily always DLC, but it's update packs and certain things to make the game a little bit more interesting. Like in wintertime, have some tracks that are covered in snow and certain things like that to make it just a little bit more unique to the player. So yeah, a lot of things I'm hopeful for with Legends, but till we actually pick it up and play it, I'm going to, of course, refrain from any hard judgment on how it feels, how it plays, or how it looks or anything like that. I'm just excited to see where we land with the game, and yeah, hopefully we get a fun game. So yeah, this is a little bit of Pro Motocross preview, getting ready for the season coming up this weekend at Fox Raceway. I'm not sure if anybody watching this video will be there, but I will be, so hopefully I'll see you guys, maybe run into you in the crowd or something like that. Be working my regular job there for RacerXOnline.com, so hopefully catch a lot of fans out there this weekend. But it's exciting to get the season started. As always, motocross is really kind of my favorite of the two genres. Like, I like Supercross, I like the hype and everything that builds up to it, but personally I like watching motocross better, the technical aspect side of it, and this is what these guys grow up on. So to see them, more or less more in a natural element is always really fun to watch. So I'm excited for it. Excited to get the season started. See what Dungey, Cairoli, Tomac, Ferrandis, Roxon, Sexton, Anderson, what has everybody got to bring to the table this weekend? Should be a fun watch, no question about it. So we'll have more of these MXers ATV All Out videos coming in the next few weeks leading up to the release of MXers ATV Legends. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Get involved in the comment section below. Happy to answer comments, questions, or concerns that you guys have, and look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. So long for now.